Hello, I'm W.T. Edmondson and welcome to Focus. Freedom often causes unbelievable silence. Of course, Focus' aim is to educate, motivate, and increase awareness of public issues, politics, social justice, and community, promoting our citizens to action. We are introducing today a new segment of Focus, and we are calling it Business Focus. This will allow us to spotlight entrepreneurs and what it takes to be a business owner. Anyone can have an idea, but it takes a little bit more to actually put that idea into action. So we hope that our business focus will motivate our citizens to take that step and become a business owner. If you're interested in coming on to Business Focus, you can reach us at focusjctv@aol.com. That's focusjctv@aol.com. We will periodically select individuals to come on to Business Focus and spotlight your idea, product, and so please contact us and we will go from there. Our first entrepreneur is Mr. Ronnie Childs, and he is the developer and founder of RC's Fine Barbecue Sauce, LLC. Mr. Childs is a lifetime resident of Jefferson City, and he retired after 39 years of service with Emory. Mr. Childs, of course, was very smart in his decision making. He brought his granddaughter along with him to serve as his public relations officer. And so we will hear a little bit more about what she does, and so let us get into it. Mr. Childs, Ms. Thornton, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Well, I've been knowing you for some time. I knew you dabbled with the barbecue and so forth, but I did not know the level that you were really into it that much. Tell us, how did your interest in barbecuing come about?
Well, it started early. I come from a family of cooks, and so I've been around barbecue all my life. And so I just started barbecuing. I had a neighbor that he had a restaurant, and so I used to help him cook. And so that's how I got started.
How long were you experimenting before you actually developed that right taste?
I'd say it's probably close to 10 years, because I would make it one way, and I said, okay, I finally got my taste. Then I'll make it again, then it'll be totally different. So it took about close to 10 years.
So what process did you use in coming up with that desired taste? You indicated that from one time to the next you have a different taste. So what process did you use to finally get it?
Well, most of the barbecue sauce is real thick, and it overpowers the meat. And so I wanted to come up with a sauce that kind of a light sauce that was kind of enhance the flavor of the meat. And so that's where I came up with the idea of making a lighter sauce.
Mm-hmm. Now, is there some, I guess cooking is, baking is one thing, but cooking on top of the stove is another. If you bake, it takes a little chemistry. You got to know how much to put in and when to put it in and all that. So tell us a little bit about getting to that point where you said, I can do this every time.
Okay. Well, I started off with a stock of ketchup base. Started off with that, and then I just kept adding different spices to it there, and then. When it came up, it would take about 2 hours to cook over low heat. And so it was quite a bit. I would add one spice, and it would be too strong. So I'd take that spice out, and I'd add a different one there.
Now, we've all had an opportunity to provide a meal for our friends and relatives and so forth, and they are all excited about, this tastes so great. But how do you prepare the taste, not for just casual, but for the actual market, knowing that the market is very vast and very different tastes. So how did you decide what type of taste you really wanted?
Well, there's a spice that I use that is not in any other commercial barbecue sauce at all, and that's what gave the flavor. And so my friends and them said they liked it, so that's where I said, okay, came up with it. And then my daughter in Atlanta, she's the one that helped get it going.
Okay, okay. Now, when your grandfather was talking about going into the business, putting it on the market, what kind of advice, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
My name's Ashley. I say that I'm a proud granddaughter first, but then public relations second. My background is in marketing. I went to school for it at UMKC, and then subsequently have been in the marketing field for almost 7 years now. So what's great about our family, it's small, but it's mighty. So everybody had a specialty. So we have IT, we have management and logistics, and so it just was a natural fit for me to be in the marketing and public relations.
Okay, now tell me, there's other family members involved. Tell me a little bit about them.
Yeah, sure. My uncle, so my grandpa's son went to school for IT, and so he helps us in terms of with the website. My aunt and her husband, Andrea and Rick, they really spearheaded. So when you asked about why did we go onto market, it was really them pushing. You know, my grandpa, he's like, you know, I'm fine doing what I'm doing, but we said we think people would really like it. So it's a nice fit to have the small but mighty group. And then lastly, his wife, my grandmother Victoria, she does a lot of the sampling and the community relations here. So when I'm in Kansas City, she's my second in command in doing that.
Okay, great. Now, how did you come up with the design?
So again, we're keeping it small, and we invited our friends and family to be a part of this process too. So a sister of my best friend and I, we designed the label, and I took some background from what I know, and she really took the lead. I would sketch things and text it to her and say, can you make this vision? And she did a great job. So Alice really helped with that.
Okay. We both know George Smith. George was a long-time business owner here in the Jefferson City area. I once asked George, how do you guarantee good barbecue? And his response was, well, you first have to start off with good meat. And so when I read your mission and the information on your website, and you made reference to good meat, I said, I'm going to ask that question. Okay. So tell us about good meat. What is good meat?
Well, first of all, you got to get in good with the butcher. That's your favorite butcher. And you get the best cut meat that you can, and always fresh meat. The butcher that I use, they cut meat every day. So it's always fresh, good quality meat. And that's what you got to start with.
So if you don't start with good meat, you can't have good barbecue?
Well, you can have good barbecue, but you're going to maybe have a lot of fat to it, you know, and so the quality won't be as good unless you got to have good meat.
Yeah. You also indicated on your website that your goal was to develop a sauce that would enhance the meat and not overpower it. Most of us, when we're thinking about barbecue sauce, we're thinking about, well, whatever the taste is, if it's spicy or sweet, that's good enough. So your barbecue sauce, you made reference to you want to taste the meat. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, my barbecue sauce will blend in with most different type of meat. And so if you got a good hickory type meat, smoked type meat, then you'll taste the hickory of it. And also the spices that you use on your meat, you'll be able to enhance it with our barbecue sauce.
And if I can add to that, we really want RC's Finest to be in your natural rotation. So we don't want to say you only use RC's Finest. If you have rubs or basting process that you really enjoy already, we want to give you RC's to kind of finesse it and top it off. So we're not saying replace anything, we're just saying add it in the rotation and let that be your last step.
Okay. How did you go about testing? Once you put it out there, how did you go about actually testing it to see what kind of results you were going to be getting?
I think Grandpa tested it for many years with his friends and family and got feedback. But in terms of bringing it to market is a really involved process. And again, Andre and Rick really spearheaded that. So you have to go through testing. We went through a university. You have to go through different regulations with different states, with different departments. So it is a very long process. So we started in 2013 in terms of getting the business license, but didn't go onto market until 2015 in May. So it's a process, but a good one.
Everyone that decide to go into any type of business, the concept of going into business is one thing, but the reality of being in business is a little bit different.
Sure.
What have been some of the surprises that you all have encountered as a result of actually going into the venture that you've been thinking about for some time?
Do you want to start that?
You go ahead and start it.
I would say the money and energy that you have to put into it. I mean, in terms of working hard in my day job, but knowing that you have to come in and put 3 or 4 hours after you get off of your day job was a surprise for me. So I don't want to say that's negative, but that was a surprise for me. But on the positive, it's been interesting to see how many different types of people and different ways people have been using RC's Finest. They've been using it not only in their barbecue, but with their burgers. People have been sending us emails from the website and letting us know how they're making RC's Finest their own. So in a positive way, that has been, we thought it would just be a barbecue sauce, and it's not from the feedback that we've gotten.
Well, I think my surprise was by the time you get something going one way and then you get a roadblock. You know, we had the trouble with the labels and different stuff like that, and time consuming that Andre and my daughter, the classes that they have to go to get to start a business. You know, so I think it took about 2 years of going different classes and stuff, which I wouldn't have done it.
Well, you know, like your granddaughter said, it takes all segments to make it work, right? You indicated that the public has been very, very receptive to RC's Finest. Tell me some of the feedback, some of the comments that you've gotten from your website or from individuals that click in your mind when I ask you that question.
So Grandpa texts those to me, so I'm gonna let him.
Okay. One of the ladies said she used it in stir fry, and that her husband has to have the sauce gluten free, and so he's been using it, and so she said that RC Finest would always be in her kitchen.
Oh, good.
So that was a good positive right there, you know.
Yeah.
And so different people have been saying they've been using it on different way, you know, and so they enjoyed it, and so I guess it's going to work out.
Yeah. When you decided that you were going to jump into the venture, you made contact with, of course, the manufacturers and the, do you do your own distribution?
So we work with a co-packer who bottles it for us, and so that question comes up a lot, like, are you guys doing this in your home? No, we're not. So we're going through a co-packer, and so he bottles it and puts the labels on for us, and then ships it to our distribution site.
Okay, tell us about who actually manufactures your sauce?
It's a co-packer.
Co-packer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did it take once you settle on this co-packer?
Sure.
And he said, invite you in, and he goes through and develop your sauce. How long did it take for him to get it the way you wanted it?
Okay, well, first of all, he made a batch, and a small batch, and he sent it to me. And so want me to see what I thought about it. First batch, we had to tweak it a little bit because he makes over 40 gallons at a time, and so what I was making it was a smaller batch. So he sent me another batch, and it was right on. And so that's where we decided to use him.
Okay.
And, so, and it's been the same ever since.
Grandpa's a perfectionist, so it took a couple of tries, but I think that's really why the recipe has stayed true for the past 40 years, is because he knows what he likes, and so that's a testament to his ethic.
Yeah. You have to have that tongue, right?
Yeah.
Having gone through the process, what tips would you share to prospective individuals who are contemplating going into a business venture? You know, you were the cook and the developer and the whole bit, and you left that stage and went to a developer and a marketer and a business owner, marketing your product that you had been dealing with for some 40 years. What do you say to an individual who have entrepreneurial spirit, who has an idea and want to move it from the idea to reality?
Well, I would say to take your time, do your homework. That's the main thing. You got to do your homework on it and make sure you have the financial capital to start. Because if you think you got enough money, but then there's a lot of headaches, a lot of roadblocks ahead, you know, and you got to get a patent lawyer and stuff. So it's quite a deal to get started.
May I add to that?
Sure, sure.
So I would really encourage and challenge anybody who has an idea to kind of go through that process and exercise of either bringing it to market or bringing it to your friends to get that feedback. But I would just add and say, be humble enough to really weather the small failures, because there's going to be some, but it'll give you an opportunity to do something different. And then be tenacious enough to start again. So I think a lot of things he was saying in terms of roadblocks, we did hit those, but we said, okay, how can we pivot and make this work for us? And we expect those to come again, but then we will proceed and move forward as a family, and so we're just excited about the opportunity.
Okay, great. How can our viewers who see this program and says, let me give RC's Finest a taste, how do they go about obtaining RC's Finest?
Go ahead.
So we looked at the country, because obviously my aunt and uncle are in Georgia, but it's a Midwest sauce, and we said, where do we want to start first? And we said, we probably want to start in our backyard. So really what we did is we leveraged relationships that we had. My grandpa had a relationship with, is it the meat manager at Schulte's? And then we really liked what Hy-Vee was doing, and so we said, let's try to build and continue building on those relationships there. And then knowing we wanted to expand and give people an opportunity outside of Jeff City to try it, we looked at Amazon as a distribution center for folks that aren't here in Jeff City.
Okay, so in Jeff City they can obtain your sauce from
Schulte's and Hy-Vee.
Schulte's and Hy-Vee. What kind of response have you gotten back from the stores?
Well, it's been outstanding. It's more than I expected, you know. In fact, they're having trouble keeping it on the shelves. You know, so
that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yes,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and, first of all, be our first guest on Business Focus.
Yeah.
We do want to promote entrepreneurship. You know, there are a lot of ideas out there, but it takes someone who's really committed to what they have and the idea to move it to the next level. And so I thank you for choosing to come and share your concept and your product with us.
Well, we thank you for letting us do it.
And take some home.
And I will. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Say, we do invite you to come and contact us, focusjctv@aol.com. If you have a product or a concept or a business venture that you are entering into. We're really looking for entrepreneurs who have been in business for not so long. We want to have the new concepts and new ideas, new businesses, startups, and so forth to come forward, and we wish to share that with Jefferson City community. So contact us and we will try to get you on. We'll see you next time. God bless.